It is pushed. Alrighty. I did it again.
Push it. Dun, 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 dun,
Push it real good.
dun, 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 dun.
Push it real good.
That was the best introduction we have ever done. Well, welcome everyone to another great episode of Our Parents' Basement. Thank you for joining us once again and putting up with our amazing song and dance routines.
Push it real good. Sorry, go ahead.
Now we're gonna get a flag for that.
No, we won't. Well, we might. That means Salt and Pepper listens to us.
It'd be an honor if we get flagged for that.
Yeah, like Salt and Pepper, and Spinderella are like, yeah, you can't sing our songs, you stupid white boys. Like, we're sorry.
Hey,
But yes, welcome to another episode of Our Parents' Basement, and we are so happy to have you with us today. I'm Philip. I'll be hosting this exciting episode. This is an episode where we're going to be doing a lot of learning. There's going to be a lot of knowledge in this episode, and I hope you stick around for the whole thing. And joining me this evening, we have Charles. And Charles, come back here. There you are. How's it going tonight, Charles?
It's going all right. I ain't a white boy. I'm only half a white boy.
This is true. Yeah. So that half of you cannot sing or dance, but the other half probably can a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, glad to have you along as usual. And we also got Jason. I call him Turf. Turf, how are you this evening?
I would prefer if y'all would refer to me as the dirty white boy.
Dirty.
So
the DWB.
It's a foreigner song. It's a foreigner song. So.
Oh, it is. I don't know that one, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, okay. I'm the whitest guy there is. I'm almost clear. I'm so white.
Like some Casper up in here.
Casper, yeah, that'd be about right. Casper.
Okay, work. All right. Well, glad to have you along. Glad to have you along as well, Mr. Charles. Almost slipped there.
Mr.
Not in the Wayback Machine for a second.
But yeah, so tonight we're going to talk about a few things, and a lot of them revolve around the re-release of a game that's coming out tomorrow, August 11th, I believe.
Yes, August 8/11.
Yep, 8/11. We'll get to that in a minute. This game was once released on the Sega CD. It was also released on the 32X CD, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. And before we talk about the game in question, we're going to talk about the Sega CD and definitely touch on the 32X as well if there's time. So, yeah, this is Our Parents' Basement. We talk games, and sometimes we cover consoles. And tonight's console, to start with, is one that just, man, it was kind of marked for death, in my opinion, the moment it was released to the public. It had a high price tag. It had some fishy connections. It did not seem to have that many good games as far as back as I could tell. Of course, I'm talking about the Sega CD. It is just when people mention the Sega CD, people usually just they roll their eyes. Oh yeah, that whole thing. Oh yeah, that. I've only played it once, and honestly, I can't remember what game it was I played on that. All I know is that I held a controller in my hand. Someone popped in a disc, which at the time, were used to.
That was magic.
Yeah, so that was cool. I can't recall what happened after that though. So
well, I'm going to say you watched the loading time for a long, long time. It was
maybe that was it.
The loading on that's what my biggest memory. I had a buddy that had a Sega CD back in the day, and we put it in. It was like put it in and wait. That was you get up, you go make some ramen, you come back down, and it's still not ready. You go back and you wash your car, and you come back, and then you play a game for a minute, and then when you switch screens, it's got to load again. It was. I don't even like ramen. I don't know where that came from. But anyways, it was a good idea. I think it was an answer kind of to the TurboGrafx CD or the not Mega Drive. What's the TurboGrafx called everywhere else in the world?
The PC Engine.
PC Engine CD. So the CD-ROM attachment, that was a new happening technology at the time. We got some optical media. So that
FMV, yo.
Yeah, well, the full motion video came along. With full motion video, we needed more storage space.
Mm-hmm.
And we get that new storage space. We had to switch formats. We had to switch media. So we went from cartridges, which were tried and true and stable,
Mm-hmm.
2 CDs.
That's funny you mentioned the word attachment, Turf, because when I first heard the Sega CD, I'm like, oh, cool, Sega's making a new system. Nope. They weren't, were they?
No.
Nope.
They said, hey, we like that Genesis you got there. You
Here
got
you
it.
go.
You want some more games? That's a nice little Model 2 Genesis you have there. You want to play CDs on it? It don't cram in that cram hole. You got to buy $100 or $200 attachment. Or is a CD $300?
It was, I believe, $299 at launch.
Yeah.
Got some research here. Yeah, it looks like it was $299 at launch. Originally, though, they said it was going to be $370.
Well, because obviously, more money equals better. So
yeah. Yep, $299 at launch, but man, that's a lot of money for an attachment.
And they were ready for it.
Yeah.
Charles here is a Sega CD owner. I don't have one, and Turf, you don't have one either, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, Mr. There, I knew it was going to happen.
Charles, damn it!
Charles, damn it! So, Charles, tell us about your Sega CD. So do you have to first bust out the Genesis and then find the Sega CD?
No, I just leave it attached out. I disassembled it for our viewing public.
Okay, so what do you have to start with for us? We're going to have a little tutorial here.
Got your Sega CD right here.
Okay, it looks like
this is a Sega Genesis. So this is your Sega Genesis Model 2, and there is a if you're looking at it face on your right side, there's a little door right there.
Okay, showing us the door.
Little connector port. And with the Sega CD, you got a little metal plate, which helps it slide in to the Genesis, to the Sega CD. So, just slides in, at a little angle, and attaches in. Yes. Just attaches in, boom, you're in.
Okay, so on the... Now, which one's a Sega CD? Where'd it go?
This side right here on the...
okay, so... okay. If he didn't pop that lid, I would not know which one was which based on the angle he was showing it. So that slid in to the metal part. Oh, it says disc on there too. Okay, that's cool. It's actually pretty sleek looking now that I actually have a...
It did when they put it together. I mean, it transformed into a bigger... it looked like a whole console.
Yeah.
And a Sega CD has its own power supply too.
Oh.
And it is a different voltage. It's a higher voltage than your Genesis. It's a 9-volt output, and the Genesis is a... What is it? 10-volt. Well, it's less, so you don't want to mix those up.
So it has its own set of cords you need to connect.
Yeah,
correct?
Well, pretty much all the video signal comes out from the Genesis. The Sega CD does have a RCA for your stereo audio.
Okay. So how many power outlets do you need? One for the Sega CD and then one for the Genesis? So 2 or...
Yeah, you need 2 outlets. One for the Genesis and one for the Sega CD.
And you need one for the television. Yeah.
one of course, your VCR.
Yeah. And you got your... And you got your RCA output, which hooks up into the actual Genesis.
Man, this is making me exhausted.
But wait.
There's more?
More, which we're going... Are we still going to stay on the CD right now? Till we move on?
Well, yeah. What else is there to... I mean, we all know. If you're a gamer worth your salt, then you already know the Sega CD was basically a big old flop. But, I've heard there's some pretty good games on it. I've never played any. The ones that I did want to try were released to other consoles. So, Charles, you're the Sega CD owner. Is there anything good that you own?
They got some good fighting games. They got Mortal Kombat here.
Okay, so not Mortal Kombat. Sweet.
I got it's a little bit cleaner than the cartridge version. Then you got their full motion video games like Who Shot Johnny Rock.
I heard that was good, actually.
It's good, but it's with the back then that full motion video was a big thing, but now you look at it like this is kind of hard to play. There's some stuff that are pure shooting at you. You can't even fucking see them. And like you're at some like funeral parlor in a funeral home, and there's someone shooting at you. I don't know where the hell it is.
Okay.
And there was also an add-on for the Sega CD. It was a ROM cartridge, which would go into your slot, so you could save your games. Which the Genesis does have a or a CD. One of the two has a ROM chip built in, so you actually save to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found that out from that Sega CD game you sent me, which is Rise of the Dragon.
The one Turf sent you or me?
You.
Oh.
You did.
Yeah, I remember. Either way, that's pretty cool. That it has that.
Yeah, it was like it's saving to ROM. So I'm like, what? Saving to ROM?
Sweet. I know that there's a really cool game. It was re-released on the PlayStation. It's called Snatcher. That's on the Sega CD.
Was that on the? I didn't know they it's Japanese on the PlayStation, right? I didn't.
Yeah, it's only Japanese on the PlayStation. But right. I mean, if you find some way to play that, or at least even if you want to watch it on the YouTubes, I recommend it. It's a really cool game, and I know that nowadays a copy of Snatcher goes for a lot of money. So
that was the only way you could play the US release or an English release for a long time. I don't know if it's been re-released or not. I was thinking it had, but I don't know. I didn't play. It's more of like a visual novel, isn't it? Like the story plays out in front of you, and there's not a whole lot. Is there a whole lot to do in that game?
Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue, which is all spoken, which at the time is pretty special.
Oh yeah.
But then there's like these shooting sequences. Like it's very like Lethal Enforcer on speed, because enemies come at you from every angle, so you just gotta shoot. I think there's an attachment that comes with it, but yeah, those are pretty cool action sequences as well. So
Hideo Kojima game too.
You could shoot stuff. Is it really? That I did not know. Okay, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's it. That's one of his. I guess how he broke into the old. Well, I'm sure he did something else before that, but that's like his masterpiece or whatever.
Sure.
People, of course, Metal Gear Solid is, but you know what I'm trying to say. People really love to talk about Snatcher with him in that same breath.
So I mean, at the end of everything, according to my data here, 2.24 million Sega CD units were sold by March of 1996, after which the system officially discontinued as Sega shifted its focus.
I've tried to buy a Sega CD several times, but it seems like the belt's always broken in the ones that I want, or people want too much for them.
It seems like it's a cult favorite now.
I've wanted one for a while just because they're cool. I don't have that or 32X.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have them because as much as I hate on Sega and hate on the Genesis, there's a lot of really good games on it, and I enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I would like to own it, but it seems like they found the crappiest belts they could and put them on there, and so they would. Now, granted, it's a piece of rubber and we are 25, 30 years later. Maybe that's why they've rotten and fallen apart. But they should build things to last like they did back in my day.
Model T.
So talk about the 32X.
Speaking of which, the next console that's a generous
add-on, whatever.
Next add-on we're going to talk about is 32X, which Charles also happens to have.
Yes.
Now, looking at this, it looks like a purse, like a clutch bag.
Yeah.
You put your credit cards in there.
You can make it into a clutch bag, yeah.
Is it light? It looks really light.
It's got some weight to it. It's a couple.
Okay.
So it's not.
So what is the 32X for those who don't know?
It is an add-on to the Sega Genesis, which you didn't have to have the Sega CD with this 32X. It had you kind of did, but you just didn't have this Sega CD. There was an add-on you would go onto the Sega CD slot, which was I guess a booster, so it would kind of see that there's something there. It had to talk to that. It has to talk to some hardware that's in the Sega CD.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little thing you would put on your Genesis that would take the place of that hardware, that little chip or whatever it is.
Okay, cool.
So, and this has more things to put on.
So what's that?
This is your Model 2 adapter, little plastic thing that just clips on the bottom. And the 32X, this just plugs into your cartridge slot. But wait, there's another cable. And this goes into the back of the Sega 32X. You pull out your other RCA cable.
Oh, geez.
And this goes into your Genesis. Then this goes in your AV in on the 32X.
Okay.
Then your other AV cable, that goes into the back of the 32X, and that goes to your TV. But wait, there's one more thing.
Oh my God. For those who are listening, you're missing a
another
show.
Power adapter.
Oh my goodness.
Which thankfully is the same voltage and same adapter as the Genesis. That just goes in the back of the thing. So this is what.
Wow. So that's the finished product.
That's the finished product.
So hold that back up if you don't mind.
Hold on, I gotta get the adapters too.
Sure.
So you got 3 freaking AC adapters.
3 plugs.
And you got your 32X right there.
It's like a freaking fire hazard. And so and don't forget, you need one for the TV. Now, when you look at it this way, it looks like kind of like a 4-man spaceship. Space station.
Yeah, so if you got that thing, somebody's getting probed for sure.
It's a beast. But
it looks hefty as well. Like all that combined.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Be like, you come back from like gaming. Man, you look jacked. Were you at the gym? No, just hit a 32X in my Sega CD.
Was no sweet Sega set.
Yep.
And Sega, they also did do a slight different cartridge mod, so it's a little bit wider. The 32X to the God damn it. It's a little bit wider than your Genesis cartridge by a tidge.
Can you put a Genesis cartridge in the 32X and it just pass through? Or?
Yeah, it passes straight through.
So you could leave that thing in there permanently. You just you build up your giant tower of power and you just let it go. Yeah,
then you get the Game Genie, Sega Game Genie, puts Sonic and Tails in there. Then after that, you put Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in.
Absolutely, that's what I would do.
And that's that's like when someone does that, they call it like the mega stack of. I've seen people put the power base converter on top of the 32X, so they can play the Master System games on there.
Yeah, I saw like some picture. Look at like the Tower of Power. It was like Jenga. It's crazy.
But it is a beast. It looks cool.
Well, unlike the Sega CD that still had some fans, at least it seems like the 32X had like no fans at all. I mean, once again, it was rushed to production. The launch games weren't that good, from what I've read at least. And it didn't stand a chance. Like, it was marketed as like a gateway to the next gen, which seemed like a waste of money.
That's what it was. They were working on the Neptune, maybe? Was that what was going to be the in between?
Yeah. Before the Saturn, you mean?
Before the Saturn. They were going to make a 32-bit console called the Sega Neptune, and it turned out to just be an add-on, or they turned it into using the Genesis hardware, using the 32X add-on and making a 32-bit console. People didn't really like that because they didn't want to have to add on to what they already had and just to buy these new games.
Yeah.
They either wanted a new system or give me 16-bit games. Yeah. I'm kind of on board with that. I don't want to have to tack on something to my. Well, I mean, Nintendo's guilty of that now with the new 3DS XL. That had the C stick and the Amiibo compatibility and all that stuff. But there's only, I think, one game is
Xenoblade Chronicles
exclusive to that, or you had to have that. So people don't bite on that. They don't want a whole new system, or they don't want an upgrade to your system. I'm sitting there saying that, and then we've got a Project Scorpio or the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro or whatever the hell they're calling.
Well, even that, like, because of 32X, and maybe you could say you have things like the Kinect or the PlayStation Move, things like that. Little add-ons that just
PlayStation VR
don't do. Oh yeah, that too. That just don't do much.
Yeah,
and
32X.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think there's 32X didn't really. The games that what I have for the games are not that much of an improvement of what we see on a Genesis.
See, I really didn't think so either.
Yeah.
The Star Wars game I think is pretty good. The Star Wars
that's what I
Arcade,
was going.
that one's fun. Virtua Fighter is fun.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, there's not a whole lot of improvement. The Doom game was quite a bit better than the Super Nintendo version, but they shrunk the screen down, and it was, I don't know, still wasn't good. It still wasn't as good as a PC Doom.
Sure.
But and the 32X just didn't have a whole lot of really good games. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade.
The one of the games that got released on launch was called Cosmic Carnage, and according to this, it said Cosmic Carnage looked and played so poorly that reporters made jokes about it. And also, according to this research I have here, I guess Sega had some sort of like launch party or something like that, and I guess people started leaving because even though they had the 32X on display, people were just like so disinterested and bored by it. Like people just started leaving the party early. So that was just marked for death.
It's kind of underwhelming. You get a lot when they come up with a new system, when somebody comes out with a new hardware, everybody gets pumped. But then when you find out like this is just a tack on for your Genesis, it can't be that much better.
I mean, it had a good launch sale. I mean, let's see, over 1 million orders were placed for the 32X, but only 600,000 were able to be matched. But then after that, just demand started to really die down, and the games were expensive too. Back then, $69.95 for a new game, that's a lot.
Well, yeah, you adjust that for inflation.
Yep,
that'd be $80 now, 85, something like that. So, yeah, that's a lot of cheese, man, for a game. So
it didn't take long for them to drop the price for the 32X from $195 to $99, and then $1995. Yep, exactly. Funny, which is the year things started getting bad. $19.95 now for game collectors. I'm sure it's a little bit more than that, if I'm not mistaken.
32X still isn't high. I think you can
really
get them for about $30.
Yeah, so
they're not sought after really, because there's no killer games for it. There's no reason. Like if I wanted a Genesis, or if I want to play some of these games, like if I want to play Sonic, if I want to play Castlevania Bloodlines, if I want to play Contra 3, if I want to, what's the other one that I like? The really chibi style, dadgummit. It's very run and gun.
Metal Slug?
No, never mind. Just skip it.
Okay.
Think of it in a minute. I'm just drawing a blank. Anyways, these games that were exclusive to the Genesis, those were really, really good games. 32X didn't have that. Sega CD really didn't have that. They had some cool ideas with the full motion video, like Prize Fighter. It's a boxing game that's like a first-person boxing game.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
It's like black and white, like Raging Bull. If you've ever seen that movie with De Niro and whoever else was in it, I can't. Anyways, it's black and white. Yeah. Robert De Niro is a boxer and his nose gets crooked, but it's like that style. That of course, the screen's made really small because it's so grainy. But it was kind of a cool idea, and it didn't really. I don't know. It was a cool idea that didn't really work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah.
So there was a lot of those first-person. They were trying to make full motion video into an actual game instead of the rendered graphic or the sprite graphics, like you control your sprite. They try to do that with full motion video, and you got things like Slam City with Scottie Pippen. Imagine playing basketball in full motion video. It didn't work at all because there was only so many steal animations or so many you made it past the guy and dunked the ball animations. It really it didn't work too well.
It's a great idea, but
Well, Charles, you seem to be happy with your games. With your
the ones I got are fun.
There's history. There are some really, really good Sega CD games for sure.
Oh yeah.
That you never really saw anywhere else, or they're big upgrades over games that were already good.
Yeah.
The one I always point to, and one I really thoroughly enjoyed and remembered playing, was Batman and Robin. It's the
cool.
same Batman and Robin game from the Genesis, like the Adventures of Batman and Robin, except for they got all the voice actors to do 17 minutes worth of cutscenes.
Oh, cool.
I mean, like Mark Hamill voices the Joker in this game.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, it's the Adventures of Batman and Robin, but they added a whole new episode. Some people, people refer to it as the lost episode of the Adventures of Batman and Robin. So, the 90s cartoon that was on Fox?
WB.
WB.
Yeah.
There we go.
WB.
WB. Anyway, there you go. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that was a huge upgrade over the Genesis version. And I love the Genesis version. There was like the Earthworm Jim Special Edition. I think that's what it was called. But Earthworm Jim's great. It was updated graphics, better sound, more voice, cool stuff. So we said Snatcher. Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. I played that one when my buddy had it. And it was like the Genesis Spider-Man game, except for we got some voice acting. We got extra stages. There were legit upgrades in this game or in these Sega CD games that we didn't get before. And then there was all those like working designs. Was that it?
Oh yeah. Lunar 2.
Love the Sega CD.
Man. There was I should have brought that with me. I have that and some other things. In one of my Saturn games, it has like a little mini catalog in the instruction manual that has all the stuff that Working Designs released. It has lots of Sega CD stuff, but Popful Mail and Lunar 2, Eternal Blue. I'm glad that game. I'm so glad they released on the PlayStation, because otherwise I never would have played it, never would have enjoyed it. It's great, such a good game.
I used to have Popful Mail, and I never had a Sega CD to play it. I found it cheap.
Oh, geez.
And it's not a cheap game. I don't even know what it goes for. But I had it for a long time, and it was just set on the shelf, and I never played it. So
what had? So it's gone?
It disappeared in the Great Divorce of 2015.
Yeah, fuck that bitch.
Yeah,
Anyways.
that'll yeah.
Anyways, well, another game that has gained some popularity from the Sega CD, and I guess the 32X CD, which that's a whole other can of worms, I guess, is Night Trap, which I guess is supposed to be very highly regarded amongst the gaming community, amongst the horror movie community.
Let's just back up. It's not highly regarded because it's cheesy horse shit.
B-movie, like B-movie.
Yeah, it is. It's like a B-movie.
Regarding.
The reason that Night Trap is notable, I guess, is because it was highly involved in senatorial hearings.
Along with Mortal Kombat.
Along with Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Those were the two biggies. And Lethal Enforcers was big. Mm-hmm. But the reason Night Trap is notable at all is, the cheese, but like Who Shot Johnny Rock is just as cheesy.
Yeah.
It's not just Night Trap. They pointed to it during these senatorial hearings to make Sega look bad, I guess, and make y'all need a rating system because we're old and my name's Joe Lieberman.
Oh, Jesus. That dude.
Yeah. Anyways, it's not a good game. It's silly. Yeah. Like they pointed to it like it was depicting rape and attacks on women. And it wasn't. It was, you were trying to keep vampires from abducting young ladies. It wasn't like a rape simulator like people were portraying it to be. It's
like those people who think Bully is a game that promotes bullying in schools, which no, it's not. They needed to look beyond the title, and in this case, they needed to look beyond what they thought it was. There's a scene in the game where a character named Lisa is captured by an enemy and taken off camera, and this is a scene that was cited as promoting violence against women, not just violence, but violence against women at a United States Senate hearing. Because I guess that's what our tax dollars were going to back in the day. So yeah.
let's just everybody stop. Let's take a deep breath, and we're going to move back. Let's go back to 1993. Let me set the stage. We've just gotten past all of the race riots from like the LA riots, the whole Rodney King thing.
Rodney, yeah.
Well, seriously, I mean,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Put yourself in this time. We're really sensitive against rap music. We're not against rap. We're not against rappers, but we are against those thugs. To quote Bone. Anyways.
Wait, who said that?
That was Bone. That was
okay.
from the beginning of one of the. I don't know who actually said it on the record, but it was on. It's the thuggish, ruggish Bone. It's the intro to that song.
Bone Thugs and Harmony Bone?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was like,
Cleveland is the city we come from.
Yeah, it's my hometown.
Anyways, you have to kind of put yourself where we were. There were so many people against things that were emerging. Like, MTV was starting to be a big deal, and people were against Beavis and Butthead. And people were, against, like, NWA. They were against rap music and the whatnottery. And so now the next thing that our parents and their senators and our government's going to protect us from is the evil video games. Them video games are going to corrupt our youth, and we're gonna all be murderers and rapists because of Night Trap.
Because of Nintendo.
It was a load of horse shit.
Oh yeah. Oh geez, yeah.
It was like if somebody told you a story and you just picked out the part that was the worst, and then you said the whole story is about that. I don't really know what to compare it to because it was just so.
I have one comparison, but it's not very PC. So,
well, I do too. I have several, but I'm trying to keep it PC. Anyways, they took this one part of this game and said, well, this whole game must be about this because guys are trying to catch girls. Nobody ever said, well, you're trying to stop the bad guys from catching the girls, just like they have in the Westerns and everything else there, Papa Joe Lieberman. Just like in your John Wayne movies, you're John Wayne trying to stop these guys from taking the bad guy. You're Marshall Dillon keeping them from getting Miss Kitty. It was just picking out the worst spots to try to say, guys, we're against rap music. We're against rock and roll because they're all worshiping the devil and these games are making kids evil. It was just old people kicking against what young people were doing.
Night Trip designer Rob. What was that? Go ahead.
I was about to make a Footloose reference.
Okay, I was going to say, Night Trip designer Rob Fulop, whatever, was irked that his relatively tame game was being compared to Mortal Kombat. Now, Mortal Kombat is very violent, and fatalities and the pit, just an uppercut will send some like 3 drops of blood. I kind of understand parents being concerned about that, but Night Trap. I don't see it. I never even played the game or seen any footage of the game. I just read what it was about, and reading all of that, it just seems so tame and a terrible example of, the Senate, U.S. Senate trying to make a case.
Well, let me tell you something about.
Charles has his hand up though. What was that?
Oh, sorry, Charles. Go ahead.
So I'm just looking at what they rated it now for the re-release.
Yeah.
Originally, was what rated MA or MA 17 was the original.
Right.
Now it's rated T for teen.
Well, because somebody actually paid attention to what was in the game.
Different time. We're in a different time, but yeah. So, yeah, of course.
I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Y'all keep going.
Footloose reference.
No, what a Footloose reference.
Oh. Everybody.
I'll take you back to about 1993 when I asked for Mortal Kombat for Christmas. I said, the number one game I want for Christmas this year was Mortal Kombat. Of course, I wanted it on the Super Nintendo, so it was mostly sweat. My mom, God love her, she said, now, little Jason, you know what the word mortal means, right? I was like, yeah, people die. Mom, it's a video game. Here I am. I'm about in 6th grade going, yeah, y'all are retarded. We know, like us, 12-year-olds, we understand what killing people means. And I can't do it with my foot. I can't reach in somebody's chest and pull out their heart. It's not going to happen. They didn't give us enough credit.
Right.
And I think that was a lot of the case. We've got to protect the young people from this, and they didn't give us near enough credit. So what our glorious Senate does, we're going to have these congressional hearings, these senatorial hearings.
Yes.
We're going to talk to Sega. We're going to talk to Nintendo, and we're going to say, you guys. So, Papa Joe Lieberman calls in Sega. I think I don't remember who was from Sega, but Howard Lincoln was the representative for Nintendo, and Mr. Lincoln explained how, well, Nintendo's always been very responsible about this. We don't we don't have these evil games. We have our Super Nintendo. We put Mortal Kombat on it. Yeah, people are going to die, but it's cartoon violence. We don't have the blood dripping off like mean old Sega does. So Sega's sitting over here kind of going, huh? You know, thinking we're going to be on the same side. You know, all the video games are going to be on the same side. But instead, not so much. Nintendo just flipped the script. Sega was sitting over there, and we've got Night Trap. They've taken the most horrific parts, which weren't even really that bad, and we made this whole case around this that we're trying to simulate rape here. That's what we're teaching our youngsters. And we've got Mortal Kombat where you can jerk somebody's head off and see their spinal cord dangling, which was awesome. That was awesome. Seeing, burning somebody up was awesome. It was cartoony. I can't breathe fire. So the whole thing was silly. It seemed so ridiculous to me that people actually, that was a legitimate concern, that Mortal Kombat was a concern. They were worried about gun violence. Yeah, okay. The early 90s, we had a lot of movies and we had a lot of things that depicted gun violence. Okay. But they're Lethal Enforcers, they said you can shoot up, you get a streak of kills on this and it'll power up this gun. And he's holding up a blue plastic revolver that's obviously blue and it's obviously plastic and it has a cord hanging out.
Is that a cord too? Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like this thing even resembles a gun. It has a handle and a barrel and it kind of looks like a cylinder on it. So it wasn't even close. And well, this is going to make a kid violent. Look at this. We got real guns and real people are going to die. Come on, guys. It's a toy. We've been playing with cap guns for the last 50 years. Why? That thing's scary. That looks like a submachine gun. That does not look like the Justifier.
Oh man, that's cool though.
That's the coolest accessory.
They also on Lethal Enforcer, if you're a player 2, you got the pink gun.
And it was
which
fabulous.
Is even more dangerous looking. Because it was girly, because you play as a girl cop, Then they say violence against women and all that stuff. I mean, you were playing as a woman cop. That's empowering.
And there was a whole string of things of people wanting to say that, this was all against women and children or young boys, all targeted towards young boys, and they were going to have violence against women and all this other horse shit. It was people that were completely out of touch with anything that was going on talking.
Yeah. It's very lazy.
I can say that because I wasn't there in the senatorial chambers, but I was a kid then, and I know what the kids were thinking in 1993 because I was one of them. I understood that was complete horseshit, and it just seemed silly.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, and as an adult, and with a son that's almost the age that I was when all this was going on, I like to think I'm a little bit more in touch with what he's doing. Like
You're not a helicopter parent.
Well, no, I'm not. But I'm it's things that I think are bad. I'm going to look at a little bit harder. I'm not just going to go bad. Like, the parents that were like, Harry Potter is evil because he's a wizard, teaches witchcraft, and all the kids are going to be, they're not going to love Jesus because of Harry Potter.
It's like a lazy form of parenting. They see something that they don't like, so they call their senator and they erupts in this whole thing, and
absolutely
bad parenting.
It was not taking any kind of responsibility, wanting the government to raise your kid. But yeah. I can get in a whole social commentary about that. But let's talk about the ESRB, the Electronic Software Ratings Board.
Now, this is what resolved from the
what came out of all this is the Senate. They're going to point at the video game companies and say, all right, you guys police yourself or we're going to do it. So Nintendo and Sega, mostly, they controlled the vast majority of the video game market. And so they got their heads together and with everybody, the computer software companies and all that stuff, we're going to come up with this ratings board. It's going to be independent. Y'all can't tell us what to put in games, but you can just slap a rating on it. That's what the deal is. Y'all can.
Exactly.
So that was good enough. That they came up with independent representatives and they brought it back in front of the Senate and said, this ESRB gentleman, I can't remember his name. He said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're not gonna censor anybody, but if you make a mature game, we're gonna slap an MA on it. We're gonna have, we'll have this teen. It's good for teenagers, but it may not be good for. We're gonna make it very similar to the movie rating system. It's pretty obvious they took the mold of the movie rating system and moved it. They have, we had E for everyone, E10 plus for like preteens. It might have like some comic violence.
Actually, before the E for everyone in E10, there was K through A, there was KA, kids to adult. That's no longer used.
No.
Right. There was a C, like a children one too, at some point.
Early childhood.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They contain no objectionable content.
Yeah, that was Barney. Even though Barney was creepy, with soulless eyes.
Yeah.
And then of course that everyone plus.
Get in Barney's van. That game didn't really do too well.
Something tells me you played that game.
Pshaw. Yes, Charles made that game.
Get in my windowless van, kids. I thought it was going to be Barney. My name is Barney. Get in. There's free candy in there, I swear. So we have
Barney song.
We have teen. We have mature audiences. We have adults only, which is sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had rating pending, which was nothing, but it hadn't happened yet.
That's like a placeholder for when they're not sure what it's going to be.
You're not sure what it's going to be yet. But just to give you a skinny of what this does is the companies, they fill out a questionnaire and they say, okay, well, if you got this many points on your questionnaire, it's like a Facebook poll or a magazine poll that was Cosmopolitan back in the day. I don't know. I've seen those polls. I've never, I swear. Anyways, that you filled out these bubbles, you get this many points, you're going to be T. You're going to be this many, you're going to be M. You're going to be this many. Yeah, you're good for everyone. So that was kind of the skinny of it. Now, the more physical releases have different rules than digital only. Digital only are more self-policed. If you're going to release something in a box, you have to submit a DVD with any objectionable material recorded on this DVD to the ESRB. And then the ESRB looks at your DVD and goes, yeah, y'all are right. That's objectionable enough just for teen. There's some comic violence. So it is self-policed. It's not censorship, but it is a way to inform the consumer. Does that make sense?
It does. And if you're crafty, though, you can sometimes find a way to bypass it. And get a rating that you would think will get you better sales. Does that make sense?
Well, without a doubt, if you've got a everyone 10 and up game, or you have a T for teen game, you're going to put a few more F-bombs in there so you can get the next level up and sell it to those teenage boys. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
A 15-year-old boy or a 14-year-old boy wants that mature game.
Have you guys ever played this game called, it's just the letter D? Ever heard of that?
Oh, I played that game.
Not that D, turf.
The one on Dream? It's on Dreamcast, I believe.
It's on 3DO, Saturn, and PlayStation, and the computer. But yeah,
okay,
computer.
Saturn. Excuse me.
Yeah. So I guess there's scenes of cannibalism in this game, and the creator of this game kept many of these secrets like violent. He kept a lot of these violent scenes secret. And so he submitted a clean version of that DVD you were talking about to the, I guess, to the ESRB. But he purposely submitted the master copy later, knowing that it would require him to hand deliver it to the developers. So what he did was, while he was on the plane on the way to the US, he switched the clean disc, which he already showed them, which gave him the T rating, with the uncensored disc, which has some stuff that is way beyond the teen level. Now, again, this is a game from, 1995, so I'm sure it hasn't aged too well. But that's, if you're crafty, you can outwit the ESRB and get some more dirt in the game.
Well, there's repercussions, I guess. I don't know what the repercussions are, but they said there was going to be repercussions if people fraudulently submitted stuff. which I'm sure as they've gone, there's been growing pains and there's been rules made along the way. Like after Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, if y'all remember the hot coffee incident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it was in the code, but it wasn't actually part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was some dude on a computer unlocked it because they're smarter than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But now, after that, they changed the rules that if it is included in the game, whether it is playable or not, it has to be included in the objectionable material that you submit to the ESRB. So that's
right.
That was a neat little, you know, they made things and made changes and hiccups and what along the way. So that was a little piece of trivia.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
we kind of talked about that. I got a question for you guys. How do y'all feel about the ESRB? How do you feel about it coming along and even being a thing? Are we censoring things? Is this cutting into freedom of speech? How do you feel about it?
I don't care. I don't know. That's not.
You're not controversial at all, sir. No, Charles just wants to spread sunshine and rainbows everywhere he goes. He's just so happy.
He does. Look at him. He spreads them.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember one time I was buying a game for my friends, you know, for like her birthday or something, you know, and they were checking my ID for it. I'm like, well, you can check my ID for a game? And I'm like, oh, it's rated M, I guess. I'm like, okay, I don't care.
Yeah. But I'm kind of actually the same way. I mean, if we have adult only as a rating, so if you really want to put something like hot coffee into your game, then go ahead and put it in. I mean, I just care if the game's fun. I don't care if it's E for everyone or M for mature. As long as I'm having fun with the game, I mean, sure, rate however you want. I guess as an adult, I kind of understand it a bit. I really think parents should do more than just look at the rating and be like, nope, you're not old enough. They should do their research. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's not foolproof, but I don't mind it.
I'm with y'all. I wanted to have some controversy here, but there's not any, man. I don't care that they rate games. I don't think exactly. I think they handled it very well because I think the Senate, you know, in the congressional hearings or whatever, came down on the business, the whole video game.
Yeah,
I guess business or whatever. They came down on them, and I think they handled it very well. They said we'll come up with our own rating system, but it's going to be independent. We're not going to censor anybody. We're not going to. They can submit something to us, and we'll slap a tag on it, and that's it. It doesn't belong to anybody. They can't bribe us. We're just going to do our thing, and I think they handled that as well as could be expected. Absolutely perfectly.
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead, Charles.
I say, you know, like for, you know, looking back at some of the games that started objectionable stuff, like Death Race, the arcade game where you drive in a car, you're running over people, and when you run them over, you get a little cross gravestone. And then, you know, revisiting something back, we said in an early show, we had these games like Bachelor Party or Bachelorette Party, which you had the pixelated spunk in it.
Beat them and eat them.
Beat them and eat them, and yeah. So, you know,
what's that? Leisure Suit Larry, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of questionable stuff back in the day, but you had to use your imagination a little bit more. When things got a little bit more photorealistic, that made people squirm a little bit. I mean, like Custer's Revenge. You raped an Indian that was tied to a cactus,
like
or a Native American. Yeah, it happened, but it was so pixelated, and you know, your Custer was like 8 pixels. Nobody cared because you couldn't see his little tallywhacker.
But his tallywhacker was like 10 pixels.
How many was it really?
Probably about 4 or 5 pixels at least.
Dude's packing heat. He's got 10 pixels of meat equipped on him.
Packing heat, 10 pixels of meat.
His tallywhacker was about as big as he was.
It was.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm on board as a parent. I'm on board with stuff like that because I do try to keep myself informed of what my son's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But now, granted, he's 8 years old. We're still in Skylanders and Minecraft, so I don't really have to worry too much. And I can say, no, you don't need that. And I like this stuff, so I am involved in it.
Like, he starts building the strip club in Minecraft.
Now,
Son,
I'm also
you
not
become a
completely
man.
naive. There's going to be things. I mean, there will be a strip club in Minecraft. I guarantee there's one. Just because you've thought of it, it's been done.
Someone made one.
Yeah, without a doubt. And he's probably been to it. And I'm not, ridiculous. I understand that. So I don't know, man. I try to be involved, and I'm okay with this rating system. I think it makes parents' job a little bit easier to be educated about things that they don't know anything about. It makes it a little bit easier to educate yourself. I don't think it's necessarily I think when calling your congressman and all that was being lazy, but now that it's there, I don't think it hurts for a parent to look at that and say, this is mature. But it's mature because of, well, my kid can handle violence, but I don't want him seeing TNA. So we're going to leave that out. He can handle
words. Yeah.
Right. He can handle a little bit of language.
Yeah.
Or he can't, this one's, T for comic mischief and crude humor. Yeah. My kid can handle a fart joke. So we'll let it go.
Yeah. I think that as long as, you do your research and don't think the ESRB is like, the Bible, then, yeah. And I'll tell you this. It's the ESRB rating is the last thing I look at when I'm looking at a new game to buy. That's the last thing I look at.
I think that's probably because you're an adult.
Yeah.
You can handle all that. You can, even know if a game's good or if, it doesn't matter if it's Mario or GTA 5.
Right.
The content's not going to bother you. It doesn't matter if we're going to, I guess we're going to get mushrooms or we're going to get
strippers.
So which I mean, they kind of blurred the area on Mario and Grand Theft Auto on that one. But
Mario is trippy.
And Mario's all in good fun.
Yeah.
Anybody that tries to read more into that than what's actually there at the surface is dumb. Controversy.
The drama.
It's about kidnapping young ladies, holding them in the castle, and taking drugs while trying to rescue them.
Or I'll tell you what, we'll get in a dark room, we'll listen to techno, and we'll eat pills like Pac-Man.
Dr. Mario?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
Well, Dr. Mario, he's just a drug dealer.
Okay.
He's like, take these pills, which is like it's a good, thing to go on the opiate crisis in America. He's pushing these pills at you.
You hear that, New Hampshire? No.
It all started with Dr. Mario.
I think it all started with opium, but I'm not sure.
Is that from poppy seeds?
Yes.
Yeah. We had poppies in our garden. I didn't know
there was. It's a certain kind of poppy.
Okay, like this is back in the day, and I thought they were pretty flowers. Like,
and you can buy the seeds, like just out of flower magazines.
Seeds.
It's legal to have the seeds, but not legal to grow them. I think that's right.
Huh.
I don't know. I'm not up on my heroin laws. I'm sorry.
And you've got your drug scene in The Wizard of Oz with the poppies. Mm.
Wow, this is the conspiracy. Well, gentlemen, this was a very informative episode. I learned a lot. Some of the stuff I already knew, but I learned more than I thought I was going to. Charles, that is so sweet. That is so cool. That thing. And he is pointing, and we at our parents' basement are against gun violence, even though guns are pretty badass. But that's another story.
But it has no batteries, so it's okay.
Right, and for another episode. That being said, it is time to say our goodbyes, and I'm going to give the floor to Turf because he is going to do that for me. And take it away, Turf.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode of Our Parents' Basement, you can look right over here to my left-hand side, and there's more episodes right over there. That's for the video version. Now, in the video version, there's 67 other episodes of this. 67! That's a lot.
Jeez, that's a lot.
We've been doing this for a minute, y'all. Well, and if you'd like those, if you want to take Our Parents' Basement with you on the go, you can download it on your mobile device and take us anywhere. Put us in the car, listen to us on the treadmill, whatever you want to do. That stationary bike, eating a taco, wherever you want to listen to Our Parents' Basement, you can. Download us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Tuned In, and anywhere else you can download podcasts. Let's see.
You can talk to us.
Yeah, if you want to interact with us, hit us up on Twitter at OPB Podcast. Let's see. Our Parents' Basement. No, that used to be the website. It's not anymore. Facebook.com/OPB Podcast. Send us an email at opbpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from you guys. We've still got I've got, I think, 3 of those games left to give away from like 2 weeks ago. So if you want a free game, hit me up and I might be able to help you out. So there we go.
All right. Well, thanks for that. And yeah, like I said, very informative episode, very interesting. I enjoyed it, and looks like you two guys enjoyed it too. So for now, I think it's time we say goodbye. And next week, we will be back with a fantastic new episode, and I can't wait. So until then, we'll see you guys later.
See you guys later.
Peace.
Good night.